Coral Island is a farming simulator game created by Stairway Games, which initially started as a Kickstarter campaign back in February of 2021. This game blew up instantly, with its funding goal being smashed within 2 days of the project's launch, then going on to hit its 15 stretch goals by March 3rd, 2021, so just over a month later. By this point, the project had raised over $1,600,000 across 36,300 backers. So with all that being said, people are clearly excited for Coral Island, me included. This game initially came to my attention after I saw an ad for it on YouTube back during the spring of 2021, I believe, and since then I've eagerly been awaiting its full release. So in this video, I want to indulge in my excitement a little bit and deep dive into Coral Island, including looking into more or less everything we know about this game so far, as well as talking a little bit about why I am so excited for this game to be released. If farming simulator games are your thing, or even if you love other more casual games like Animal Crossing, let me know if you're excited for this game in the comments down below, and if you're planning on picking it up after it releases. Now, I was gonna try and summarize Coral Island myself, but it seems like the devs have done it far better than I could have done. This is the top quote on the Kickstarter page, and it reads, "Coral Island is a reimagined farming sim game inspired by the classics. Grow crops, nurture animals, and befriend islanders. Decide whether to revitalize not only the town, but also the surrounding coral reefs." So as we can see, this game is drawing from the titles we already know and love. A big, very noticeable one is Stardew Valley, but we will be talking more about this as we go. So let's talk about the game itself, and let's start with the gameplay. A core aspect of Coral Island's gameplay is of course centered around farming and taking care of animals. One thing which instantly stands out to me is the fact that we are apparently going to be getting over 75 plantables within the game, which includes crops that we are used to seeing in farming sims, but also crops which are native to Asia. And as someone who loves to cook, I'm really excited to hopefully learn lots more about these fruits and veggies from this area of the world. In the official announcement trailer, we can also see some barrels in the background of the farm footage. So from this, I'm assuming that we're also going to be able to turn our harvestables into other products perhaps, such as preserves or maybe some kind of drinks, but this is entirely my speculation, so take that with a grain of salt. I do hope this feature comes to the game though, as this kind of a thing is a feedback loop which I really love in farming games. As we similarly see in other farming sim games, we are able to upgrade our player home, and once doing so, cooking is unlocked. This ability seems to have a good amount of depth to it. You can either make recipes you already know from a menu, or mix and match ingredients and different utensils in, dare I say, a way which is similar to Breath of the Wild in order to try and discover new recipes. Another aspect we are very used to seeing in farming sim games is mining, and that feature is also coming to Coral Island. It appears there's an elevator system similar to that of Stardew Valley, which easily lets you travel between floors of the mines. Some screenshots of the mines also show areas which look like they contain some ruins, which, as we will see as we continue to go through the different aspects of the game, there is a heavy emphasis on exploration on Coral Island. And as is to be expected when exploring deep dark caves, we won't be alone down there. In the trailer, we can see the player face lots of creatures in the caverns, so there is also a combat skill. Moving on, we briefly see the player fishing, and one of the early stretch goals for the Kickstarter campaign was the addition of bug catching, so we can definitely see hints of Animal Crossing creeping into Coral Island. As a result of this stretch goal being hit, the museum has apparently also been expanded to allow for the donation of bugs and fish, also similar to how the museum works in Animal Crossing. As it has been described as being quote-unquote expanded, I wonder if that means we were originally only going to be able to donate things we found in the mines, similar to Stardew Valley. Whatever the case is, I'm loving that there is clearly going to be lots of things to catch and collect and donate in this game. One feature that I should probably mention here is the fact that I believe we actually have to build the museum first. This, I believe, is done through community projects, which are found on the town message board. This level of progression is getting me so excited for this game. I hope that there are some decent rewards for having completed the museum once we've built it and everything. Other community projects which we are shown include the tasks to build a community garden and a recycling centre. I wonder if this recycling centre will be tied into the mechanics of cleaning up the oceans around Coral Island, but we will touch more on this a little bit later. Another familiar gameplay aspect within Coral Island is the system of befriending and in some cases romancing NPCs. There will be over 50 characters in this game, which is kind of crazy. From the Kickstarter page, we can see around 32 of these characters, and from the announcement trailer, I believe we are shown some of the merfolk, so there are still plenty of characters which we are yet to meet, which is really exciting. Two of the stretch goals included the creation of seasonal outfits for every single NPC, as well as beach and festival outfits for them all too. I absolutely love this attention to detail, and I think it will really carve out these characters as unique with their own individual styles. I have a feeling that I'll actually be getting lots of style inspo from these islanders as well. Like, look at how fire all of Lily's seasonal outfits are. To add another layer to this dynamicness of all the characters of Coral Island, a stretch goal unlocked the features for all NPC children, including the ones which you have with other NPCs, to grow up. For child characters already in the game, which you don't have yourself, as they go through their different life stages, this apparently brings additional stories with them, which is really exciting. So far, for the most part, these gameplay elements we've seen will feel very familiar to anyone who is a fan of this genre of game. However, one aspect which really caught my eye as super unique is this diving mechanic. We don't see too much of it in the announcement trailer, past the player swimming around and collecting what looks to be trash, but interestingly, we do see them also interacting with a mermaid. We'll definitely be talking more about this aspect of the game later, but focusing on the trash collecting element for a second, this seems to really be tying in the devs' goal of heroing environmental awareness as a key facet of Coral Island, which is really cool to see because I think this idea is often left to fall by the wayside in games of this genre. Looking at the Kickstarter page, if you'll excuse the pun, the diving mechanic seems to be anything but surface deep. As you can see from this image, we are given the ability to unlock deeper diving spots. I'm loving this aspect of progression here, and this only goes deeper as collecting kelp while diving allows us to quote-unquote hone the quality of livestock and crops. So even for folks who hate cleaning up the oceans, players are still going to get motivated to go diving. Next, I love how this game will also include some mini games. I really love the idea of having some wee side distractions, and these include things like playing mini golf, darts, and even console and arcade games. There is also something called Dungeon Kart Race, and I am really hoping that this is like the minecart minigame that you could play in Club Penguin, because that game was fire. Like, 6-year-old me absolutely loved that game. Rip Club Penguin. Other small features of this game which I think are important to know are the fact that we can participate in festivals, and we can also have pets, which include your normal household cats and dogs, but also monkeys, foxes, and more. And finally, look out the way, Joja Corp, because there is a new mega evil business in town which has a much cooler name, and that being Pufferfish Drilling Corp. They want to drill for oil around the island, and I'm assuming we're going to have to stop them by gaining favour with the locals, and I really hope this has a big quest line attached to it. So now we've spoken about the gameplay for Coral Island, let's move on to talk a little bit about why I am so excited for this game. One of the biggest things I'm excited to see is the fact that there is evidently an overarching story to this game. At the end of the announcement trailer, we see the player tossing what looks to be a tulip into a pool in some ruins. Then a character emerges from the pool. Also in the ocean section, we see a mermaid struggling with some netting, and one of the Kickstarter stretch goals was the expansion of an underwater village into an entire kingdom, which features its own festival. Having this entirely underwater area seems really unique and like it will be a fun place to go and take a break from farming and general land life, and I'm super excited to explore it and uncover all of its secrets. In fact, if you wait until right at the end of the announcement trailer, we see the player talk to a mermaid called Denali, and she is speaking in a different language. So I'm looking forward to getting to unravel all of this and hopefully getting to eventually understand the language of the merfolk. One of the developer update posts also notes how to gain access to the merfolk kingdom, you have to gain the trust of the gatekeepers first. I'm interested to see the level of difficulty and effort this will take. Will it feature in the early to mid game, or will it be more of a late game aspect? And this brings us back to the idea of there being big quests in Coral Island. The same Kickstarter stretch goal also notes how the merfolk questlines will be expanded. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of the word questlines. As much as I love the more casual, do things at your own pace and kind of do whatever you want aspect to games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, I'm also a massive fan of big games like Skyrim and The Witcher 3, which are also very, very quest driven, so it's quite refreshing to see this kind of a thing being brought to the farming sim genre. It's exciting to see that there will be a mix of elaborate quests as well as simple quests. And tying into the system of quests and stuff like this is the fact that Coral Island comes with a freaking skill tree. There seems to be 3 sections to this, which will hopefully allow for a good amount of replayability. These 3 sections fall under the headings of proficiency, mastery, and social. And it appears that every skill is unlocked with skill points and can be upgraded to a maximum of 3 times. I really hope each of these skills will be evenly balanced and that there will be benefits to having all of them. So I don't feel so inclined to do what I do in Stardew Valley, which is to pick the same skill perks every single time I make a new playthrough. At the bottom of this screen appears to be a level bar, so I'm also assuming this refers to the skill level of the player, but I could be wrong about that. And additionally, not only will you be able to level up your player, but it seems that you can also level up or increase the rank of Coral Island itself. In the December 2021 developer update, they released an image of the work in progress UI for this feature. And as we can see, the town rank is broken into 4 categories, those being heritage, fame, museum, and ocean. It's cool to see how increasing your town rank will net you additional unlocks. Leading on from this, the final stretch goal for the Kickstarter campaign was the addition of island hopping. I'm hoping these islands will be more diverse in the landscapes they give us to explore in what already seems to be a super massive map. And I'm hoping that getting to these islands will take a lot of effort, but also provide us with big rewards. So making them more of a late game kind of a task to achieve. And with this actually being said, let's talk about the map for a second, because without even mentioning this merfolk kingdom or the islands we'll eventually be able to hop to, Coral Island has 7 areas on the main island, including Starlit Town, which is the main area where most townies will be concentrated. There's the beach, which allows us to access the diving spots, the lake, which features the ancient temple, which we see at the end of the announcement trailer, a forest, which I believe is where we get to access the caves, the woodlands, which all I can say about this area is the fact that it contains a freaking taco truck. Then there's also a lookout and the hillside. From what I can tell, the devs seem to have crammed activities for us in every single one of these areas, actually giving us a good reason to frequently visit them. And within each of these areas, there also seems to be a lot to discover, whether that be collectibles like fruit, or uncovering secrets of the locals, or even studying the ruins to look at the history between humans and creatures like giants, for example, who I believe will eventually be able to help you out on your farm. But thankfully, the devs have kept the more impatient players in mind by also giving us the ability to fast travel using tokens, which allow you to travel to teleportation spots around the map. Aside from what I am excited for in regards to the game itself, the fact that this game has already got a bustling community around it is amazing, and this is even before the game has fully released. On top of this, another stretch goal unlocked the ability for this game to be modded, which is super cool. I think with how strong this community already seems, the modding scene for Coral Island will be popping in no time. I'm super excited to see what fans are able to do with this game. And finally, one thing which I'm super excited about for this game is the fact that Coral Island will eventually be coming out on the Nintendo Switch and other consoles. As the game will initially be releasing for PC, I'll definitely be picking it up over on Steam first, but as soon as it drops on Switch, y'all know I'm going to be grabbing a second copy. And to make things even better, multiplayer features will be added. I can't wait to make all of my pals buy this game when it comes out on Switch so we can all play it together. So for now, I think I've covered most of what we know about Coral Island so far, although the devs have been so fantastic about giving us so many updates on this game that I've undoubtedly missed some stuff. If I have, please leave it in the comments down below. But now let's get to arguably the most important part of this video, which is the question of when will we be able to get our hands on Coral Island? Well, it should be coming out for early access during Q1 of 2022, so pretty soon. Then the full release is slated for Q4 this year, so we really don't have all that long to wait. But I have to know, are you looking forward to this game? And if so, what part are you most excited for? Me personally, it's this aspect of questing and skill building, which is just really doing it for me. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video or have any thoughts or suggestions, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you again soon.